taking a moment. And we are now live.
Well, welcome everyone to the Township of Clearview Committee of Adjustment meeting here on Wednesday, September the 14th at 7 o'clock. I'd like to call this meeting to order. I note that we do have quorum of members. I'd like to begin our meeting by recognizing the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples of Canada as traditional stewards and caretakers of the land. We acknowledge that Clearview Township is located within the boundaries of Treaty 18, the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Teonatani, the Wendat, and is the home of many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples as part of an intricate nationhood that reaches across Turtle Island. At this time of truth and reconciliation, we welcome the opportunity to work together towards new understandings and new relationships and ask for guidance in all we do. The minutes of our meeting held on August the 10th have been circulated for adoption. I'd ask members of committee if there's any errors or omissions that they noticed. Seeing none, I'd ask for a motion to approve the minutes as circulated. Moved by Chuck, seconded by Dave. All in favor? That is carried. I'd ask members of committee, once Dan returns. I'd ask members of committee to disclose any pecuniary interests that they may have in the 5 applications before us tonight. Seeing none, we'll move forward with our first application, which is minor variance file 22A12, property located at 3079 County Road 124, the Duntroon Cider House. Christine, I'd ask that you read the notice, any correspondence, and the recommendation of the report, please.
Thank you. The subject application concerns lands municipally known as 3079 County Road 124. The purpose of the application is to request the approval of the Committee of Adjustment to vary the size of the outdoor patio or seating area, where this area is not to exceed 93 square meters and where 244 square meters is proposed. The effect of the application is to allow for the construction of an open covered patio area as part of the farm cidery use. We did receive comments from the Chief Building Official and the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority, both having no objection or concern with the application. And we have a recommendation from the Planning Department that the Committee of Adjustment of the Township of Clearview hereby approve the minor variance 22A12 pertaining to lands at 3079 County Road 124, formerly Township of Nottawasaga, now in the Township of Clearview, and legally described as south part of Lot 27, Concession 8, Reference Plan 51R8073, Part 2, formerly Township of Nottawasaga, now in the Township of Clearview, on the basis that it meets the 4 tests in accordance with the Planning Act and with the following conditions. 1, that the owner will remove the storage units / containers on site within 6 months after occupancy of the agricultural building. And 2, that the outdoor patio and seating area not exceed 244 square meters, which will be made up of 111 square meters uncovered patio space and 133 square meters of covered patio space agricultural storage. And that is all I have.
Thank you very much. Does the applicant or their agent have anything they would like to add to their application? Ms. Loft?
Good evening. Good evening. It's Christine Loft on behalf of the applicant. I do have a short PowerPoint. If I could just present that, and I'll just go through it quickly.
Sorry, Christine, were you wanting me to bring that up?
Oh, sorry. Yes, I can though. I actually have it up. If
okay, otherwise it might take me a second. Sorry.
yes, absolutely.
Screen, Christine.
Yes,
Loft.
sorry. All right, are we good?
Yep.
Okay, so the property is 3079 County Road 124. The property is 42 hectares in size with a frontage of 208 meters. There is an existing residence, and the main floor of that building is used as an accessory farm cidery. The property does have a pond and includes 2 small accessory sheds. This is a property that operates Duntroon Cider as well as Dunridge Farms. So the proposal is to vary the size of the outdoor patio or seating area from 111 square meters to 244 square meters to allow an open covered patio area. And the 111 was established on a previous minor variance application as noted. So the effect of the application is to allow for the construction of an open covered patio area as part of the farm cidery use. So here's just the required 111 and a accessory farm winery at 222 square meters plus the 111 square meters decking related to the cidery, and then the variance request on the right-hand side. So this is just a zoom in of the location of the proposed farm cidery, and I've highlighted in yellow where the covered deck would be. The intent of this area is to be used for fruit storage. However, it is an open patio area. And once we had submitted the application to the municipality, it was determined that staff would be more comfortable in having the variance in place that would allow this to be a functional or multifunctional use patio area. So in the short term, and as the business grows, this area may change, but the intent is for the shorter term to be used as a fruit storage area. But by way of this variance, it would allow it to be used by patrons if the owners wish to use it in that way. So this is actually a floor plan of the architectural drawing. So again, I've just highlighted in yellow where the area is located. So it would be located on the south side of the proposed structure. So in my opinion, the application is or maintains a minor, or that the application is minor in nature, that it is desirable. It does still maintain the general intent of the zoning bylaw and maintains the intent of the official plan. And I'll just reiterate, I know that I presented a little more wholesome when I was before the committee previously, as there were other variances proposed, but this is a barn restoration. The main structure will be a barn that is being restored and reclaimed. So we have provided all of these drawings to the municipality, both through the minor variance application and through the building department. And just that this site does operate Duntroon Cider House within the Duntroon area. And those are my comments, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Christine. Do any members of committee have any questions either of Christine Loft or of Rosalind Workman, the author of the report? Nothing from Chuck? Nothing from Dan or Dave? All right. I know this property's been before us in the past, and we're fairly familiar with it. So then I would look for a motion then. Motion to approve the recommendation from staff. Yes from Chuck, seconded from Dave. Any further comments or questions from members of committee? Seeing none, I'll call for the favor then, or for the vote then. All in favor of the minor variance request? The staff report is carried. So therefore, the Committee of Adjustments of Township of Clearview hereby approves minor variance file 22A12. And there is a 20-day appeal period. And you can continue to work with the municipality on the plans. Thank you, Ms. Loft, for your participation.
Thank you.
And are our next applicants on board, Christine?
Ms. Loft is also the agent for this application. Sean.
There we go. So our next application is consent file 22B14, property located at 6042 3031 Side Road. Christine, if you would read notice, comments, and the recommendation, please.
The subject application concerns lands municipally known as 6042 3031 Side Road and 8077 Highway 26. The purpose and effect of the application is to sever a surplus farm dwelling lot from 6042 3031 Side Road, and the retained lands are to be amalgamated with the abutting farmlands directly across the road at 8077 Highway 26. Proposed severed lot, 100 meters of frontage on 3031 Side Road, overall 1 hectare with dwelling and accessory building. Retained lot, approximately 300 meters overall, 38 hectares vacant land. We did receive comments from the Ministry of Transportation, the Chief Building Official, the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority, and the County of Simcoe, all having no objection or concern with the application. And we have a recommendation from the Planning Department that the Committee of Adjustment of the Township of Clearview hereby approves consent 22B18 pertaining to lands at 767667 Side Road, roll number 4329010-011-04800, legally described as Part Lot 7, Concession 6, formerly in Nottawasaga, now in Clearview, and the lands to the north, roll number 4329010-011-04830, legally described as part of Lot 7, Concession 6, formerly in Nottawasaga, now in the Township of Clearview, subject to the following conditions. 1, that the applicant meet all the requirements, financial and otherwise, of the municipality, including servicing bylaw charges and payment of the fee of $150 for each certificate of consent or cancellation certificate to be issued. 2, that the applicant provides a description of the land which may be registered under the requirements of the Registry Act or Land Titles Act as applicable. 3, that the property be severed is conveyed into the same name as the owner of abutting land to the south, being assessed as roll number 4329010-011-04800, 767667 Side Road, and that the solicitor provide an undertaking in writing that this condition will be fulfilled, as well as merging the PIN numbers to have only one PIN number for the new parcel. And 4, that the township require that the applicant solicitor provide a cancellation certificate to ensure that the severed and receiving parcels 767667 Side Road merge as one parcel. And that is all I have.
All right, thank you very much. Ms. Loft, do you have any comments with respect to this application?
Thank you. I do have a short PowerPoint if I can present.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the property, are we good? 6042 3031 Side Road and consent B14. So the property is 40 hectares in size. It is located in the red on the right-hand side of the screen. The lands are described as primarily agricultural. There is a water course that does traverse the property. There is an existing residence on the property that is well under construction, as well as accessory buildings. So I have taken a few photos, although you probably completed a site visit. So the proposed consent proposes to sever a 1 hectare surplus farm lot with 100 meters of frontage on the side road, and the proposed retained lot would be just over 38 hectares with a frontage of 300 meters on Highway 26. The severed lands are to be added to the parcel on the south side of 3031 Side Road and identified on the right-hand side of the screen. A zoning bylaw was approved prior to this file coming to committee, which does rezone the retained parcel for no further residential purposes in the AGER zone. And that bylaw is now in place. In terms of the zoning, both the severed and the retained would meet the minimum requirements of the bylaw. And in conclusion, council did pass zoning bylaw 2263 on August 11th, which rezoned the lands to the AGER as well as the AG25 and an environmental protection zone for the water course. The application is in keeping with the Planning Act, consistent with provincial policy, and conforms to the local official plan. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Members of committee, does anyone have any questions of either Ms. Loft or Ms. Workman, who authored the report to us? See none. All right, and I'd look for a motion then to approve the staff recommendation. Moved by Dan, seconded by Chuck. Any further questions or comments from members of committee? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote then. All in favor of this consent? That is carried. So the Township of Clearview Committee of Adjustment hereby approves consent file 22B14, subject to the 20-day appeal period. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right. I see we have Orland's on the call, as well as Nick. So we'll move on to our next application, which is application for a minor variance file 22A13, property located at 4433 concession 12. Christine, if you could please read notice, any correspondence, as well as the staff recommendation for this application.
Thank you. The subject application concerns lands municipally known as 4433 Concession 12, formerly Sunnydale, and legally described as Concession 12, Part Lot 9. The purpose of the application is to request the approval of the Committee of Adjustment for relief from Section 2.5.1A. In agricultural zones, an accessory dwelling unit shall not exceed a habitable living space of 111 square meters. The applicant is proposing an accessory dwelling unit to be 224.4 square meters for a total variance of 113.4 square meters. The effect of the application is to allow for the construction of an addition to an existing dwelling on the subject lands, which would contain an accessory dwelling unit. We received comment from the chief building official having no comment. We have a recommendation from the planning department. Be it resolved that the Committee of Adjustment of the Township of Clearview hereby denies minor variance application 22A13 for relief from the required maximum gross floor area of an accessory dwelling unit from 111 square meters to 205.4 square meters on the basis that it does not meet all of the 4 tests in accordance with the Planning Act. And that is all I have.
Thank you. So just before the Morelands address the report in their application, Nick, I just want you to clarify the numbers within your report. Your recommendation is a smaller number than the original because of interior versus exterior. So if you could just clarify that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the initial application is seeking to a variance of 224.4 square meters. However, as a part of that area, approximately 19 square meters is for a proposed deck area, which municipal staff do not, or the zoning bylaw does not count as applicable gross floor area. So that number has been subtracted from the overall 224 for a total of 205.4 square meters. So that was the variance, that was a minor amendment that was made. And so that's discrepancy between what was applied for originally and then what is currently shown on the through my report and what the variance is currently requested.
All right, thank you. The Morelands, would you like to provide any new information on your application or comment with respect to the report prepared by municipal staff?
Yes, if I'm Diana. I'm actually representing Anita Moreland, who's here as well this evening. I'm with Ula and Associates, so I can speak on behalf of this, and then Anita's here to answer any questions that the committee members may have. There's actually a discrepancy with the numbers that has actually just been found out at this time, unfortunately. As per the site plan, the numbers should actually, the total gross floor area that we should actually be asking for is 186.2 meters squared. So that is 83.5 meters squared basement and 102.7 meters squared main floor, including that entry area, which also encompasses the stairs. So that totals up to 186.2 meters squared. So although the application does state the 200 plus meters squared as per the site plan, those are the actual correct numbers. That should be applied for 186 meters squared. So I just wanted to put that new number forth, and whatever we need to do to kind of remediate that or to possibly have that go through. We're all ears of how we should proceed with this.
Okay. Any other
Thank you.
comments? No? All right, so we'll ask for comments from members of committee. Chuck, first to speak.
My question is to Nick, who my understanding is worked on this file, right, Nick?
Correct.
Okay, so in reading through this, essentially it says that rich people cannot make a estate out of their property because less fortunate people cannot afford it. Am I reading that correctly?
That's not basically the intent. So when we're reviewing the application, we look at, what is accordance with 4 tests of the Planning Act. And so when we're looking at, does it meet the general intent purposes of the zoning bylaw particularly? The intent of the zoning bylaw is to ensure that it does remain affordable. So that is done through applicable upper-tier policy for the PPS as well as the official plan document. So that is one consideration, that we do want to provide a variety of housing that remains affordable, that you're not creating a second dwelling on a property, because obviously they're permitted to have a single attached dwelling on the site, as opposed to 2 units that would be of a similar size to an accessory dwelling unit. And it also is to be, as an accessory dwelling unit, the intent is to be accessory and incidental subordinate to the primary residential use on the site. So as a part of the review of it in terms of what's being proposed, it's my opinion that though it does not meet, is not in accordance with the 4 tests of the Planning Act. And similarly, there's no unique or mitigating factors currently presented that would otherwise not set a precedence through this. So that's basically where my recommendation came from.
All right, so I got one more question.
Sure.
The primary residence on the property, I couldn't tell from looking at it. Is it larger than 2,200 square feet or about the same size?
So the existing on there is 361 square meters, which if you forgive me, I'll have to go to my calculator here. But that's closer to 3,600 square feet, I believe, or 38.
That's
So it is,
what I thought.
It is larger.
I'm not really good with metric, 53 years into this so far. But it looks significant, like on planning, 2,200 square feet looks significantly smaller than the original dwelling. And the reason why my question is because if someone is comfortable in 3,600 square feet and want a secondary building it to them, 2,200 square feet is smaller. So I'm asking your opinion, that's all.
Other members of committee. Dave, we'll get back to you after the members of the committee. So Dave.
So we were given Nick's report, and unfortunately, when you look at some of the drawings that were prepared, even when I pull them up on the screen and I zoom in and zoom in and zoom in, I don't get really a lot of detail. So I'm going to ask some stupid questions, but I think maybe the stupid questions might be very informative. Number one stupid question is, how many kitchens are you going to end up with when the addition is put on?
Yep, go ahead and answer.
Thank you so much. It'll be a total of 2 kitchens. So there's 1 kitchen in the existing dwelling, and then there will be one kitchen added
Okay.
or in the additional dwelling unit or accessory dwelling unit. So 2 kitchens total.
How many washrooms in the addition?
In the addition, it is 1 washroom. 1 washroom, yes. Thank you, Anita.
Okay. Any problems with septic sewer because you are now putting a second kitchen? Obviously you're not on sewer, but let's start with water. Plenty of water on the property?
Oh, I think you're muted, Anita. Mhm.
There's a drilled well there, that there should be plenty of water there. I think we have to make the septic a little bigger because they just put a brand new one in November of 2021. So I think we're going to have to add on to the septic, but we're willing to do that.
Okay. Yeah, certainly. I think if you add a washroom and have kitchen facilities, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if you'll have to enlarge that. Any bedrooms in the addition?
Well, the actual house, the main house, only is a 1-bedroom house. So I have 2 sons living there, and one son has taken over the living room as his bedroom. So the addition is going to have 2 bedrooms, and one of my sons will move into that addition just to sleep there, because that's supposed to be the upstairs is supposed to be our little house, and I'd like to keep my sons and dogs separate most of the time.
Just to clarify, as you had mentioned earlier, some of the new square meterage or square footage in this addition is actually basement, and then basically a main floor, but no second story type of thing.
No.
Okay. I think now my stupid questions probably people begin to realize one of the things that Nick had mentioned in his report was basically this beginning to look like a second residence on a single lot. And so I even though they may have been a roundabout way of establishing things like a second kitchen, how many bedrooms, and so on and so forth, that's where I was headed. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Anything from Dan? No? No. All right. So I'll ask a question of Nick then. Based on the numbers presented by the applicant's representative of 186.2 with a main floor of 102, do you understand where those numbers have come from?
Yeah, so typically municipal staff, we review the application, and that's what we review in terms of what's being presented. So the application does do the 224, but as a part of our review, we did note a discrepancy with the deck area. But as a part of this, I understand that Dan, she was away recently, but I did confirm with her office in her absence to confirm the total measurements. And through that process, they indicated that it was 102.2 times 2. So the above and below are the same size. So that's where I went from there. But I guess that was not the case, where the site plan does indicate the top floor of 102 with the unfinished basement area at the 86 square meters.
So from the committee's perspective, seeing those discrepancies in numbers, do you want an opportunity to review your report and bring it back again? Or do you feel that that is still not enough of a change to change your report? Now, I'm putting you on the spot, obviously, because you want to think about that or review that and compare it to the 4 tests. But what is your preference?
So at this point in time, I would say that my recommendation remained the same. We are quite permissive currently with the 111 square meters compared to most other jurisdictions. So that's a 1,200 square foot accessory apartment. So currently at the 2,200, or I guess it would go down closer to about 2,000 square feet, what's currently proposed. It's still considered larger than accessory structure, or fails to remain as one. And I'm confident that it would still not meet the 4 tests, and again would set a precedence for this type of development moving forward.
And I believe you had your hand up. You wanted to make a further comment, Morlands? Or not?
I believe, if I may take this one, Anita, we do have a possible opportunity to revise the proposal. And just because that entryway, because it encompasses the staircase, which is currently in the main dwelling, we're actually looking to relocate it to that entryway. So part of that entryway, the reason why that's so large is because it encompasses that new relocated staircase. So if we kind of look at it at a way that we're sort of omitting that area as part of the accessory dwelling unit, then the accessory dwelling unit becomes smaller. So I think that entryway with the staircase, it might add up to, I'm going to talk square feet now, maybe 200 to 300 square feet. So if we're taking that away, then we're down to basically 83.5 meters squared, which is what we're looking at for a basement. So that would be on top level, and that would be 899 square feet, if that makes sense.
Because right now the stairs to the basement is a spiral staircase in the middle of the kitchen floor. So the boys want to close in the kitchen floor and put stairs to the basement. So we decided that while we were putting our addition onto it, we would put the stairs out of the kitchen and in between the two houses, but the basement is mostly going to be their basement, not ours. We're just going to do the upstairs. Their basement right now does not go under the whole house. It only goes under half the house. And there's one room where the foundation was falling in. So the previous owners built a secondary block wall and filled that room in with dirt. So there really isn't a lot of basement space under the main dwelling right now.
Okay, thank you for that information. So members of committee. Dave.
Sorry, a question back to the Morelands. Despite what Nick has said about not meeting the 4 tests and perhaps I guess where I'm going is, would you guys like another month to meet with Nick? It just sounds like there's a lot of numbers floating around here, and I'm not sure which number is which number, and we're talking square feet, square meters. It almost seems like, despite the plans at the back of the report and so on and so forth, maybe a delay of a month might allow you and Nick to get together and have a standard set of numbers. Is that something that you would consider?
Yes. Yes, we would.
Nick, if you were given more accurate numbers, and again, I know that there's architectural drawings at the back here, but maybe just clarification on some of the things. You may not change your mind. That's fine. You're the planner. But I'm just saying, might we have better numbers if we postponed it a month and it came back to us in October?
So municipal staff are obviously happy to work with the applicants and review if there's more clarification required on there. Like I said, I don't know if that will change the final outcome of it. And then perhaps I have to consult with the secretary or treasurer for it, just because we have reviewed the current one that's before us now, and whether, if we are reducing it, just depending on if terms of notification or anything, like if that would be triggered as a part of the process. But I guess it'd be up to the applicants to determine if they like to defer it or not. And then we could either come back with the same if it would be unable to do so, or we could, as you indicated, Dave, if we'd like to use the updated numbers, if that's possible.
Yes, I think it's a good suggestion from Dave that rather than simply deny this tonight, to give everybody another 30 days to continue to talk And, we're not, certainly not putting our staff in any position to change their opinion, but to have a better review of the numbers and a little bit more consultation so that perhaps we can come to an agreement to allow this to move forward. So but again, still a lot of work to do in order to get to that step. So Dave.
So in that case, have we actually got a motion in front of us yet, Mr. Chair? No.
There's a
Then,
recommendation, but there is no motion.
okay. Then I would like to put forward a motion, and Christine, maybe you could help me on this, but basically, I would like to look for a delay, whatever the proper, there we are, referral. Deferral, yep. We've gone through this before, I know, so that's why I came to you. But maybe we could put a deferral on this. Is a month realistic, or should we actually give it 2 months if Nick is proper and we have to go out, say, for another notice or something like that?
So in this case, in this case, in terms of a notice, I don't think that's necessary because we're not increasing the ask. If they're going to be decreasing what they're asking for, I don't think it's necessary to re-notify. So I guess it's really about how quickly they're going to get new plans in to Nick to be reviewed, whether they feel like they can get that in time for our next meeting to make the agenda, or whether they need to till November. So if you want to leave it open until November and whether they can make it for the October meeting or November, I think 2 months should be sufficient.
Okay, in that case, then my motion would be a motion to defer the decision tonight until both parties are ready, or until the Morelands are ready to move forward.
All right, Morelands do have a comment.
Yes, thank you. A month is more than enough. Thank you so much.
Okay, we're going to leave that open.
So we'll be ready for the.
Yeah, you guys can work at your own speed. So the motion would be just to defer until a later date.
Excellent. Chuck, you're agreeing with that and seconding that motion to defer? All right, any other comments from members of committee? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote then. All in favor of deferring this application tonight? That is carried. So Nick and the applicant, if you can communicate, and we'll look forward to bringing this back for a conclusion at a subsequent meeting. Thank you for your participation tonight and your comments.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to our next application, which is minor variance file 22A14, a property located at 2891 Concession 11 South. Christine, if you could provide us with notice, any comments, and the staff recommendation.
The subject application concerns lands municipally known as 2891 Concession 11 South, formerly Nottawasaga. The purpose of the application is to request the approval of the Committee of Adjustment for relief from Section 4 definitions attached, where a building may be attached by an enclosed corridor, where such corridor shall be no more than 5 meters in length. The application proposes to attach a building with an enclosed corridor 10.71 meters in length. The effect of the application is to allow for the construction of a 2-story addition to an existing dwelling on the subject lands. We received comments from the chief building official having no concern or objection to the application. And we have a recommendation from the planning department that the Committee of Adjustment of the Township of Clearview hereby approve minor variance 22A14 pertaining to lands at 2891 Concession 11 and legally described as North Part Lot 9 Concession 11 and reference plan 51R3099 Part 1, formerly Nottawasaga, now in the Township of Clearview, on the basis that it meets the 4 tests in accordance with the Planning Act and with the following conditions. As this is an addition to the existing house, this addition will not be permitted to have a kitchen, and the maximum total length of the enclosed corridor to attach the addition will be 10.71 meters. And that is all I have.
Thank you very much. Mr. McCormick, are you agent for this applicant?
I am the architect for this project, yes.
Very nice. Looks like a very interesting build.
We've had Thanks.
Do you have anything you'd like to add to the application or the report?
Well, I did compliment Christine on the report that I received. It's excellent and not what we're used to seeing ahead of a committee of adjustment working in Toronto. So it's very welcome. In terms of adding a little bit of color, I just wanted to explain that the homeowners are a couple who've been there for a few years and they were hunkered down through COVID. They're both lawyers and they both were working and discovered that they really needed to have their two offices quite a distance apart. And he has adult children and he has hopes and they have hopes over time that they will grow into this being a 3-generation home. So when they approached me initially, they asked if we could do an addition that would be connected by a corridor or a bridge. And because of the land level change, it's a bridge that's floating just a few feet. I mean, I think dogs could go underneath, but it's just a few feet above ground and makes that connection. And we went out on site and planned it. I think I'd initially thought 30 feet made sense. They thought 40. We ended up at 35, which translates to 10.71. And what that did was give them a distance for the building to be apart. So there was a bit of a courtyard outside where they could sit and have the view. And also at the same time, there's a tree that's partially between the two buildings that we're going to look to try to keep. And so it just became a very clear application. And I was surprised when I made it to find out about the 5 meters because I'd done a project previously that was up on the escarpment, which the 5 meters didn't matter for. So it was, I've gone through this process of making this application and I hope that you see fit to approve this as a proposal. There is no ambition to have a kitchen in the second side. There's a bar fridge and a bar sink and a coffee machine. And I expect some wine bottles.
Very good. All right. Well, thank you. Yeah, the escarpment, as you're well aware, the escarpment planning is not zoning, but rather development permit based. So a bit more flexibility there, not hard and fast numbers on a page. Members of committee, anyone have any questions? Yes, Dave.
No question, just a comment. During COVID, my wife and I are not lawyers, but a 10-meter corridor might have been quite handy around here too. That's it. I shouldn't have probably have said that, and it's there for Heather to look at. So, anyways.
Other members of committee, anyone else to make a comment about their wife? No? Okay. All right, so we have a recommendation in front of us to, is there anyone to move that? So Chuck, seconded by Dan. Any further comments or questions from members of committee? Seeing none, all in favor? So the Township of Clearview Committee of Adjustment hereby approves minor variance file 22A14, subject to the 20-day appeal period.
Thank you all. Thank you very much.
And moving on to our final application of the evening, I see Mr. Beresford is on the call. Consent file 22B18. Christine, you're up.
Thank you. The subject application concerns lands municipally known as 767667 Side Road, formerly Nottawasaga. The purpose of the application is to sever a portion of land from the property identified as roll number 4329-010-011-04830 to be added to the abutting lands at 767667 Side Road, roll number 4329-010-011-04800. The proposed severed parcel, 63 meters of frontage on 67 Side Road and 460 meters of frontage on Concession 6 South. Overall, 20.5 hectares, 50.6 acres of vacant land. The retained lot, approximately 210 meters of frontage on 67 Side Road. Overall, 13.5 hectares, 33.3 acres vacant land. The effect of the application is to facilitate a lot addition, which will result in 767667 Side Road having a frontage of approximately 467 meters of frontage on 67 Side Road. Overall, 26.3 hectares, 64.9 acres with dwelling and accessory building. Comments were received from the chief building official and the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority, having no concern or objection to the application. And we have a recommendation from the Planning Department. Be it resolved that the Committee of Adjustment of the Township of Clearview hereby approves consent 22B14 pertaining to lands at 6042 3031 Side Road, subject to the following conditions and legally described as south part of Lot 31, Concession 3, formerly Nottawasaga, now in the Township of Clearview. 1, that the applicant meet all the requirements, financial and otherwise, of the municipality, including servicing bylaw charges and payment of the fee of $150 for each certificate of consent or cancellation certificate to be issued. 2, that the applicant provides a description of the land which may be registered under the requirements of the Registry Act or Land Titles Act as applicable. 3, that any mortgage on the property be discharged from any lands being retained, 38 hectares of farmland, and that the solicitor provide an undertaking in writing that this condition will be fulfilled. 4, that the applicant successfully apply to the municipality to amend the zoning bylaw to prohibit residential uses on the retained lands. 5, that the property subject to the farm consolidation is conveyed into the same name as the owner of abutting land to the south, being assessed as 4329-010-002-19501, 8077 Highway 26. And that the solicitor provide an undertaking in writing that this condition will be fulfilled. 6, that the owner comply with the Ministry of Transportation comments if required. And I apologize. I just read the incorrect report. I am so very sorry.
Hey, Christine, I think you read the report on this one for the second application. It was mixed up.
I did. I apologize. My apologies, because a lot of our conditions are fairly similar.
Yeah, that's why I jumped in on the second one. I thought it was up, but
oh, my apologies. I'm going to reread those conditions. I'm very sorry. So the conditions of the approval for 22B18, that the applicant meet all the requirements, financial and otherwise, of the municipality, including servicing bylaw charges and payment of the fee of $150 for each certificate of consent or cancellation certificate to be issued. 2, that the applicant provides a description of the land which may be registered under the requirements of the Registry Act or Land Titles Act as applicable. 3, that the property to be severed is conveyed into the same name as the owner of abutting land to the south, being assessed as 4329-010-0 11-04800-767667 Side Road, and that the solicitor provide an undertaking in writing that this condition will be fulfilled, as well as merging the PIN numbers to have only one PIN number for the new parcel. And 4, that the township require that the applicant solicitor provide a cancellation certificate to ensure that the severed and receiving parcels 767667 Side Road merge as one parcel. And that is all.
Thank you. Any comments with respect to the staff report or your application, Mr. Beresford?
sorry, just going off it. No, I think Christine covered off well. We've been through it in detail with her. So thank you for representing that, Christine.
Any comments from members of committee with respect to these lot additions to create a larger farm parcel? No? All right. We do have a recommendation. Is there anyone to move it? Moved by Dave, seconded by Chuck. Any further comments? All in favor? Therefore, the Township of Clearview Committee of Adjustment hereby approves consent file 22B18, subject to the 20-day appeal period.
Thank you very much.
All right. So Christine, do we need to go back to 22B14?
Would you like me to reread the conditions? So
Yeah.
Actually, I think you did, Christine, because you mentioned about the MTO for it, which was applicable. I think you just read.
I think you just read it again
for the last one, but I think.
Yeah. I think
I
we're okay.
apologize. I wonder if I printed the same report twice and put one in each. I apologize.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Because I do recall reference to Highway 26 in the last one. So.
I do too. I do as well.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think Christine Loft might have said something if she'd heard different like comment or conditions or whatever. Yeah. I think you're good.
We had her on the call as well. So, all right. So that's all of our applications tonight. Is there any new business?
Nothing from me.
No. Anything from any of you guys? No. Beautiful backdrop, Dan. Oh.
Lovely.
Living the dream.
I get the best sunsets in the world here every night.
Yeah. Next meeting tentatively scheduled for October 12th, applications?
Yes.
Yes, there is. All right. So prepare to work. All right. Anything further? Anyone make a motion to adjourn? Dan is interested in that. Seconded by Dave. All in favor? Thank you very much for your